Good morning, Peter Rasey, Director of the 25th Expo 88 Anniversary People's Committee, and we're here again doing the second interview with Gary Balkin in relation to the Kookaburra Queen, and this time Gary has his guest book from that period, and there's just a few people that went on the Kookaburra Queen that will just yield up a really fascinating story. So stay with us as we go through, and the first one I think is Mick Jagger, and I seem to recall that he had something to do with music.
19th of September.
So Gary, if you can just find that and then just give us a little bit of a background story in relation to Mick Jagger's visit to the Kookaburra Queen.
Yeah, sorry about this. 19th of September. Here we are, Mick Jagger from England, and his comments were good food and fireworks. Yes, I didn't know Mick Jagger was on the boat, of course. He and his troop came on, and I got a phone call saying, come over, he's on the boat. And I got there too late, of course. I had to come from home, and it was late at night. But I was really keen to see what good food he'd had, and I was hoping desperately that he would have had, say, a Moreton Bay bugs, which were very fresh that day. And so we had some great barramundi and other fish. And so I said to the head waiter, I said, well, what did Mick Jagger order? He said, they sat down and they had, the only order they had for the lot of them was a kid serve of pork sausages.
No wonder he manages to keep that thin figure of his going. And there was another famous international star, one who was a childhood hero of mine, and I understand of you, and that was Tony Curtis.
Yes, he was on the cruising boat before it cruised that night, just outside the then Heritage Hotel, now the Stamford, and he was guest of someone, but he went out and asked the captain to go on board, and then I of course, knowing him as a childhood hero, I wanted to meet him. I went up there, I kept my distance for a while. He looked very pale, he had a shock of white hair, no longer the original Tony Curtis hairdo, and that we all grew up on, and he looked very sad. Eventually I went up to him and I said, excuse me, Gary Balkin, I'm the owner of the boat, very pleased to meet you. And he was still very quiet and a bit wary of me. And so I thought, I'll tell him that joke, the one about the Tony Curtis hairdo. And I said, did you ever hear the one about the Tony Curtis hairdo? And he just looked at me, and so I started. I said, well, this guy walks into the barber shop and said, hey, can I have a Tony Curtis hairdo, please? Then he went to sleep. And he was an Italian barber, and while he went to sleep, he woke up and he looked in the mirror, and all his hair was trimmed off, a bit like mine, and shaved off. And he said, but that's not a Tony Curtis hairdo. And the barber said, you're telling me that is not a Tony Curtis hairdo? 3 times I saw the king and I.
All right, that is very funny. And how did Tony Curtis take that
story?
He
only gave a glimmer of a grin and nodded, and I thought, gee, it's best if I go, because he looked sad. I didn't know what it was, but I thought I'd better go. Maybe he'd heard it before.
We could have. Funny enough, he ended up, not only did he have a very successful movie career, but he ended up having a very successful artistic career, and he was one of the highest remunerated artists in the sort of twilight years of his life, and very, very sought after artist. Now, just moving on in relation to the people that we'd like to talk about, there's a local football hero that you gave great support to. That you've got some really interesting stories. A man who I believe has great sea legs.
Oh yeah, Alan Langer, Alfie to everyone. This was 1988 Expo time, and he'd been with me for about 6 months in my hotel Bonaparte's, and he didn't appear to like bar work that much. He was a happy soul, and some days he only worked a few hours and went off. And I loved the little fella, and he was, of course, doing great things for our team, the Broncos. And it was part of my deal that I'd give Alfie a job. But I could see he wasn't happy, so I took him on board the second day of Expo, and we set sail on the Kookaburra 2, and just coming in Expo, I said, "How would you like the job as captain of this boat?" I said, "It might take you a couple of years to get your licence, and then it'll be a good future for you." Not knowing, of course, the big money that the footballers would come into eventually. And Alan said, "Oh no," he said, "I get seasick." I said, "But the river's so calm, have a look at it." He said, "I still get seasick." I said, "Okay." And just before we'll go ashore, "I'll have some oysters." He said, "Oh no," he said, "I can't eat seafood, I can't stand seafood. It makes me sick." And I said, "Oh well, when we come back we'll have a steak."
Which obviously was very well appreciated.
Yes.
By a man who's got good sea legs.
Yeah, I believe he now eats prawn cutlets.
Oh, that's good.
Is that right? Yeah.
So I think we'll just end up with this YouTube for Foundation Expo 88, and let's do a plug for all the other YouTubes that we have loaded up, and we'll come back in a little while and do the final one about the construction of Kookaburra Queen 1, and also a very good friend of Gary's, Ryan Thompson. Thank you and good morning.